Hello, everyone, and thanks for stopping by my demo of Reading the Old German Handwriting online course. This is the third year of the course. We have hundreds of students already, and I hope that this course can help you too. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, I am a German to English genealogy translator. So I help people translate their ancestors' diaries and letters and church records and photographs, pretty much anything and everything related to German genealogy. And I do have my master's in German. So I studied abroad in Salzburg, Austria, and then finished up the master's at Bowling Green State University in Ohio, which is where I met my Austrian husband. So I get to stay and practice speaking German at home with him. And I taught myself the old German handwriting. So I was exactly where you are. I remember exactly how frustrating it is to look at those words and just see scribble and wonder how anyone in their right mind could actually read this stuff. So I remember what it's like. And that's why I made this course so you don't have to go through all that frustration like I did. And this is just a little slide to show you that I'm not just making this up. This is an actual Facebook post that I wrote when I was first starting out, asking for help from any of my German friends if they could read any of those old German script words on the documents. Because at that point, I had no idea what it said. And now it's a piece of cake. So to give you a little background, this is what the script looks like. It's called Kurrentschrift, which means running script. So as you can see, it's a very flowing or running script. And while it may look a little overwhelming, luckily there's some letters that are very similar to our cursive letters. So I just wanted to point those out to you real quick. Letter G looks just like our cursive G, as does the letter I. That one's very easy to recognize because it has a nice little dot over it. The letter L is just like the cursive L we learned in school, as is that O and the T. And the T is usually nice and crossed, so that's another sign that it's a T. And then there's a couple of letters that don't look like our cursive letters, but if you know what to look for, you will be able to decipher them. So I wanted to show you those letters too before we get into the course. These are my favorite letters because, like I said, they have telltale signs that you can know it's that letter. So this letter is the letter H. And it's easy to recognize because it has a loop above the line of writing, which is right here, and a loop below the line of writing. So when you see that double looped letter on the diagonal, you'll know that it's the letter H. My other favorite letter is the letter U because it has this swoop above the letter. And I like to think that swoop, or the U-Bogen, as it's called in German, looks like the bottom half of a smiley face. So when you see that little swoop above the letter or that bottom part of the smile, you'll know it's a U. So just from that 2 minutes, you already are able to recognize a lot of letters. The ones that look the same as our cursive letters, and that H with the loop above and below the line, and the U with the swoop above. You're doing great already. And then one last thing I want to teach you before we get into the course is the letter S. And I like the letter S because it's pretty easy to distinguish from other letters. Now you may be thinking, that's a lot of different symbols up there. What do all those mean? Good question. There's actually 3 different ways to write the letter S, but luckily they're very easy to tell apart. So this S is the S that you're going to use at the beginning of words or the beginning of syllables. And this is for lowercase words. So if you have a lowercase word that starts with an S, you're going to use this S. If you have a syllable of a word that starts with an S, you're going to use this S. Now, this S is the end S or the final S. So if you have a word that ends in the letter S, like Bus or Bus in German, you're going to use this S. This S will also be used at the end of syllables. So just like this one is used at the beginning of words or the beginning of syllables, this one is used at the end of words or the end of syllables. And I like to think this S looks like the number 6. That's a way I make it stick in my brain to remember the number 6. And then the final S right here, our third S, is the capital letter S. Now, in German, all nouns, so all persons, places, and things, are capitalized. So if you have a noun that starts with the letter S, with a capital S, you will see this letter. And I like to think that this S looks like an upside down fish. I like to kind of think of separate little funny things to make my brain remember it. So we have this S that's just a diagonal line down for the beginning of words and the beginning of syllables. Our number 6S, which is the final S for the end of words and the end of syllables, like bus or bus, and our capital S. So, for example, the word Straße in German means street. Straße is a noun. All nouns in German are capitalized, so you would see this S on your document. So, looking at that S, can you guess which one it is? Is it number 1, 2, or 3? I bet you got it right. This word here is the word schon, which means already. So it's a lowercase s, the beginning of a word, so we use this s. This word here, what s is that? 1, 2, or 3? Yep, that is our end s. That kind of looks like a number 6. We don't have a very clear loop here, but you can see that hook, so that is our end s. And then we have this s, which is our capital S in the word Schwagers, which means brother-in-law. So as you can see, these, it's kind of strange that there's 3 different ways to write the letter S, but they're very unique. So when you see any of those letters on your German document, I bet you can recognize them. Now you may be thinking, well, those are all great tips. I like when they look like cursive. I like that H with the 2 loops, and I like the U with the smiley face, and I like all those S's, but the German handwriting still kind of makes me feel like this. Well, I got that. Like I said, I remember how it feels. And that's why I created the course. So, all of that hair pulling and frustration and looking a ton of things up on the internet that I went through, that you won't have to go through, and that it'll be a lot easier for you to decipher your German documents. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the course. For those of you who know me, you might remember that I spent 3 years teaching English in Austria. And when I was teaching teenagers, a lot of boys too, so like 17-year-old Austrian boys, and I had to keep them entertained. And I remember that when I played games, we did like a speed dating where they had to pretend to be certain characters from English TV shows and things like that. They learned so much better and they retained what they learned as well. So that's what I tried to do with this course. While we're not going to be doing any speed dating, I still tried to make it fun and interactive for you so that you'll enjoy learning the handwriting and retain it as well. So this is the course itself. It's divided into 3 parts, A, B, and C. A is all about teaching you the alphabet. So we go through every single letter of the alphabet, and I give you tips like I did with that letter H, with the loops, etc., so that you can recognize those letters. Once you're done with that, we have section B, which is different vocabulary and recognizing it in the handwriting. And then finally, section C is all about practice records, where you get to practice what you've learned. So let's take an in-depth look. So this is section A. So each section will start with a PowerPoint lesson. It's a video of me, my voice, teaching you. So this is what it looks like. Well, here's our S's again. Let's go to a different letter that we haven't had yet. So this is, you'll hear my voice instructing you on how to recognize each letter, and you'll get the tips, etc., on different things that you need to know to be able to recognize it. Once you've watched the PowerPoint, which you can watch as many times as you like, there's different games and activities that you can do to really make them stick in your brain. So let's do the flashcards. So you get the letter, think to yourself what it is, and then find out it's an R. I bet a lot of you know this one. This is like our cursive letter. If you guessed J, you're right. So again, you can do these flashcards as much as you want until you are recognizing the letters like that. Um, then there's different uppercase letters. There's common combinations that teaches you to start sight reading letter pairs. You get actual practice words after you're ready to decipher words together. You can print this out if you want or work with it on your computer. And then once you're confident and feeling good about all those individual letters, it's time for section B. Now, I always tell people there's no need to learn the entire German language when you're working with genealogy documents. If you can know certain vocabulary words that come up again and again, you'll be able to extract that information from these documents. So in section B, that's what I did for you. I pulled out all those important words that you'll need to know. So we have names, we have the months of the year, we have abbreviations. There's always a lot of abbreviations in those documents. We have milestone words, so those words related to birth, marriages, and death. We have occupations, that's always fun. And then we have causes of death. Now, each lesson will again start with a PowerPoint lesson of me teaching you all about that topic and the words. And then we have more games as well. So, one of my favorites is the matching game. And you can see the word, or this time, in this case, we're doing months. You can see the month written in the old German handwriting, and you have to try to match it to the typed text. And you can see how fast you can go. So here we have December, September, March, January, June, and May. And I've had one person tell me, you can see who's leading here, and one person told me that they just got addicted to this game and found themselves playing it again and again. So this is on, I believe, every section of the vocabulary, and it's a great way to really train your brain to start sight reading entire words that are going to come up on your German genealogy documents. There's also different lists that you can print out, so you have them on hand when you're working with your documents. And then when you are feeling ready, there's also tests and quizzes. You get different kind of tests like that. So I really tried to make it so there's learning for everybody. We have visual learning, we have hands-on learning, we have audio learning, so everyone can have the type of learning that works best for them. And then when you're finished with that, you're ready for the reason why you're all here, section C, which is getting into those records. So we have a introductory lesson on tips and tricks of deciphering German handwriting. And then we talk about, we'll go back to here. We talk about the different records individually. Here we are at section C. So we have a whole section on teaching you to read those vital records, the birth records, the marriage records, and the death records. We have an entire section on church records. So PowerPoint lesson for different ones, vocabulary to download and print out, and then actually trying it yourself. So like I said, you can print these out if you like, or you can work with them on your computer. I recommend working with them on your computer because then you can zoom in on those individual letters. So here's the record that you work with. You can try your hand at transcribing. And once you're ready, you get the German transcription to make sure your German was correct. And you get the English translation as well, so you know what it means. So each of these record sections, the vital records, the church records, and we have letters as well, will have practice records for you to work with, the German answer, and the English answer. So I made this because when I was first starting out, I had no one to tell me if I was right or wrong. So I wanted to make sure that you had something where you could check your work and test your newfound skills so you know you are on the right track. And then finally, at the end, you have so many documents. You have a key, you have tons of documents that I thought would be helpful for you, giving you additional tips and tricks you need to know when working with the handwriting. And we also have a discussion forum in the class where people can post what lines they're researching, give each other tips and tricks for working on things, see if you're working on similar lines, etc. But I don't want you to just take my word for it. Like I said, we have hundreds of students already. People have been so excited about it, which I love as a teacher. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about what they're saying. Liz from Australia said she's noticed such an improvement in what she can read, and she's had some amazing aha moments when working with her records and finally realizing what those words are saying. Sandy says that she likes being able to do the course on her own time. So that's something I haven't mentioned yet. You have lifetime access to this course. So if you want to take advantage of that deal and start the course in 6 months or next year or tomorrow, you can do that because once you get it, you can always go back to it, which is really good for a lot of people because sometimes they work on their genealogy in spurts. They get a really big motivation in the summer and then maybe take a break for 6 months, and then when they get back to it that next winter, you can then go back to the class and review those flashcards, review those matching games, and reteach your brain to recognize those letters so you can have lifetime access to the course. And she also said it's loads of fun, which made me so happy as I tried to make it fun. Anne says she's able to see words out of the scribble, which I was so happy to hear because that's how I felt when I first started learning. It's so cool when you can look at a word that before you had no idea what it meant, and then all of a sudden you realize it's your ancestor's hometown. And then Kurt said it was one of the best genealogy decisions he's ever made taking this course. So that made my day. I tried to put my heart and soul into this course. I tried to make it something that will really motivate you and encourage you that you can decipher your ancestors' documents. So I was so happy that Kurt was happy with his course experience. So normally there's 3 levels of the course. If you get them all separately, if you purchase A separately, B separately, C separately, that's $387. But the package deal, which I just showed you, is $319. However, you get 15% off. So that's $271.15 instead of $319. I think, not good at math, but I think that's almost a $50 savings. So if you want to get that 15% off savings, go to German-handwriting.teachable.com. And when you purchase the course, there'll be a tiny little brown place for a coupon code. You do have 30 days to try it out, but we've had all happy students thus far, and I hope that you love it as much as they have. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I'm just so excited. It's so cool for me to see people going from knowing nothing about the handwriting to actually working and deciphering their ancestors' documents. So if that's something that you'd be excited about too, go ahead and check it out. Type in the code. If for some reason you can't find the place to do it, no worries. I will get back to you ASAP. Enjoy the course.